I think this is the section of the Sony conference that a lot of people really just kind of were like, oh my gosh, this multimedia tech, extra technology stuff, blah, 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 we want games. But the one thing I will say about this is, while, I'm not particularly fond of that, I feel like people need to realize that this is an entertainment expo.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's the kind of stuff that these companies are trying to focus on, because it's not supposed to just be about games. Games are just, they're a big highlight because they're so popular, but at the end of the day, they're showing off really the consoles more than anything.
Yeah, the hardware.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something people really, really, really forget when they're analyzing these conferences. I mean, even if you go back to years past where they criticized Microsoft for all the Kinect stuff, or Nintendo for all the motion control games, really they're just showing the capabilities of their hardware, which is an entertainment device, and that's what this whole thing is supposed to be about.
Even with that in mind, I still think Sony made the same mistake that Microsoft made last year, and although it's fine for them to talk about this kind of stuff, they spent too much time if you compare it to how much time they spent on actual games. Because everyone knows the E3 press conferences are typically mostly about the games if you're showing off a console. I mean, that's what the console's main purpose is. Otherwise, you could do all those things on your own computer.
Well, I could give some technical stuff here if you guys want.
Yeah, I was actually getting ready to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Go right ahead.
All right, this was like this PSN segment, I guess. They have something called Share Factory, and what they're doing is bringing YouTube to PS4 later this year, so you can upload videos or video captures directly to your channel, which is kind of neat, especially as a Let's Player or so, when you're just playing there and you can just, upload it. You can also stream your gaming or movies to Twitch or Ustream. And they also have a free-to-play section, which currently has 25 games. And from the trailer, they look kind of neat because they had stuff like Fat Princess. Does any of you guys know it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, free-to-play is always good. It's just something extra, just a little candy or whatever.
Yeah. Party favors.
Yeah. They also have this thing called PlayStation Now, and they have Metal Gear Solid 5, God of War, and a lot of other cool games. You can also do remote play that lets you play your PlayStation games on your Vita. So kind of what Nintendo's doing with the Wii U, I suppose. And they have a PlayStation TV for $99, which is basically a little device that lets you use your PlayStation stuff on another TV in your house. Or you can get a bundle for $139 with a memory card, the Lego Movie game voucher, as well as a controller and an HDMI cable. So they kind of had this multimedia part here.
Right.
Personally, I can see how that's not interesting for everybody, but it's just something the PlayStation 4 offers.
Yeah.
And it's cool, like, to have something extra,
Like, for example, I might find a lot of use for the remote play feature.
Yeah.
Like, like let's say I had a PS4 and a Vita. Like, I could definitely make use of that, because I like handheld gaming just as much as console gaming.
Yep. So, I don't know. It's like you said. I know a lot of people are almost kind of spoiled, I'd say, because, well, it's true. It's like, well, I just want games. But the fact is that a lot of these consoles can do more than just, you playing games.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, this is interesting for all those people like us. We're Let's Players. I mean, how cool is it that you can you can make your videos. You don't have to import them to your computer necessarily. You could just upload them or stream them from the console. You don't have to go, okay, console, capture card, computer, blah blah blah, and then to YouTube. You can just do it live. I get that it's not interesting for everybody, and that probably this is gonna make the Let's Play community explode even more. Or the streamer.
Why would it do that?
Because now everybody can do it. Just like, yep, okay.
Oh,
but,
come on.
No, I'm just kidding. But it's cool. It's just something extra, and I still dig that free-to-play section because it's like, okay, you don't have to spend money necessarily. I mean, they're not like AAA games necessarily, but it's like if you're bored, here's a few games for free. It's like I always like taking free stuff.
Who doesn't?
If it's not like, Sony's waste bin stuff, basically. Which it didn't seem like it. There were some cool games in there. So, and it's like Nemo said, I dig that remote play thing. I think some people are gonna really like that.
Yeah.
So,
I think it'll definitely get some use.
That's just me though.
I like when they showed the free-to-play stuff. They had to put that little disclaimer in the trailer. It said, some features only available with a fee.
That's
I noticed that. I did notice that. That was funny.
So they should really call it fee to play.
Fee to play. Nice one. Shots been fired. Good one. Alright.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about getting technical, I said there was something technical I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And, they did spend about 20 minutes on this stuff, but they had a 2-hour conference. When you look at the figures, it was only 1/6, so you can't really even say that a majority was really devoted to this, because the majority of it was games. I mean, it's Sony. They reserved that 2 hours. And, they showed off all they wanted to show off, and they did show off mostly games. But they had that time that they reserved, and they had a right to show that stuff. And I think that's honestly what matters most. Would I maybe spend 20 minutes on that? Probably not. But that's their freedom, and I think they made use of the time they wanted to and the way they wanted to.
Yep, they certainly got me revved up to use Ustream on PS4.
Sarcastic? Hashtag sarcasm?
Valid point, though.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Also, you notice that PlayStation Now, this is about PlayStation Now, and Sony recommends that players have an internet connection speed of at least 5 megabits per second to achieve good performance.
Is that download speed?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's download speed. Just 5 megabits
connection.
per second internet connection.
Yeah, that's download.
That's why I was asking. Because there's download speed and upload speed.
Upload? If somebody has an upload like that,
why would
holy
it be
crap.
upload?
I do.
Seriously. Yeah.
The oddness of the question confused me. Yeah, of course it would be download speed. What am I saying?
Yeah.
Well, what other speed is there? Attack speed?
Yes.
Yes, actually.
Attack speed, movement speed.
Defense speed. We need defense speed in more games.
You need to buy the Fatalis.
I think. Oh god. You know what we need to add here? I think. It's kind of funny that people complain that they show stuff like this, but given how many people these days are like pretty much obsessed with this whole HD crap and having those flat screen TVs and all this other comfort with technical devices, it's like, well, they almost have to,
Yeah,
because it's all about that HD and that 1080p and just having extra shit and HDMI cables and I'm like, well, they're just giving people what they're but then they're complaining.
Yeah, they are.
It's kind of
giving them more,
stupid.
honestly.
Like, you want zombie games? Apparently that's what everyone wants, zombie games, so...
Yeah, see? I don't know. Just a thought for people who are complaining, maybe.
And let's be honest here, in the coming years, it's eventually going to be normal to have an internet connection of 5 megabits per second or more. Like, it's eventually going to be normal to download that fast.
Yeah. I've got 6. Huh?
Yeah.
Alright.
I have 0.1. My internet sucks.
You have -3.
Yeah, pretty much. My internet is terrible.
Yeah. You have to use like your bike or something to make it work.
I know. I would do that. It helped me lose more weight too. So.
Alright. Do we need to say anything more to this technical part of
I don't.
Cover
I think we covered it.
Go.
Yeah.
Okay, Mortal Kombat X.
Oh boy, finish it.
This is everything. This is everything they wanted to put in the earlier Mortal Kombat releases that they never could because of technology.
Right.
So I'm not thrilled at all about playing any of these games, or that game in particular. But they finally got to do what they've always wanted to do. So.
Yep.
I actually very recently watched a playthrough of the last Mortal Kombat game, the Mortal Kombat 2011 edition, and I thought it was really cool, and because of that, I'm actually interested in seeing this game when it comes to fruition, so I'm interested.
There's honestly not much to say about this game. It's just like the trailer, they showed off some fatalities, like, here, I'm breaking your neck, here, I'm ripping your spine out and cracking it, here, I'm like, okay, got it, okay, so it's still all, yep, finish him, finish her, okay, I got it. They don't even need to say anything more, it's a fun thing.
It's what people want. It's Mortal Kombat. It's always been that. They're capitalizing on what makes them Mortal Kombat.
The only thing I was thinking is like, oh, they're gonna be editing or censoring or whatever it heavily over here again. Good times.
Well, I want to say that I am excited for this game as well, because I played the previous Mortal Kombat, and it was a revival for the series. It was a legitimate, awesome fighting game.
Yep.
And it had everything
really good.
Yeah, it had everything you expected from a Mortal Kombat game, and then some. And it was just packed with content. NetherRealm Studios has been on a roll lately, quite frankly, because they revived the Mortal Kombat franchise. They created a great fighting game featuring DC superheroes, Injustice, Gods Among Us, and now they're going for 3 out of 3 with Mortal Kombat X. So I'm excited.
Well, anything else to say about Mortal Kombat? Looks at Tommy. No.
Nope.
Nope. No.
Finish him. Okay.
All right.
Finish her.
Cool. So we had a game called Powers coming out in December, which is apparently a game about 2 homicide detectives investigating cases with what they call powers, which is basically supernatural things. And the main guy himself used to be a power, one of those beings. It looks like a cartoon show, and at first I actually thought it was one. And they did say something along the lines of the game will be free for PlayStation users, but this is where I'm having a question mark. Hey, opinions.
They kind of talked more about this than actually showed stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like they talked about the whole time, but it's like I wanted to see what the game was.
That would be nice.
They showed snapshots, I think.
Is this that comic book game?
Yeah.
That was the most agonizing 10 minutes of my life.
Okay. Really?
I think it was only 5 minutes, but I get what you're saying.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was long.
Again, they just kept talking about it. They didn't really show much.
Yeah, it's all we know. It looks like a comic book. We know what the story is, like the main story is, like the sum up. But other than that, we didn't see anything. It sounds interesting though. It sounds like a neat storyline. But I don't know how you play it. Is it a point and click? I keep thinking for some reason it's gonna be like Walking Dead or Wolf Among Us. Maybe minus the influenced decision thing. So basically like a point and click.
Probably.
But I don't know. Or maybe like Sam & Max or something. I have no idea though.
Well, here's the thing. This game is intended to be more of a stealth action game.
Right.
With ghost powers.
Metal Gear Solid with Superman?
Okay then.
No, well, Superman's not a ghost.
Super Gear Solid. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. it's like Slim said, they talked more about it than they showed anything. They had that still picture in the background pretty much most of the time, and then they just talked about it. And I'm like, okay, looks cool. Gameplay, question mark?
If
You know what?
More bark, not enough bite.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
if a random battleship slammed into the comic strip, I would think
Oh, no, not that.
What about you, Slim?
Oh.
Oh no, I just said more bark, not enough bite.
Oh. Well, now I'm gonna say the whole premise of this game, with this guy being killed by a serial killer and coming back as a ghost. It reminds me of Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective on the DS.
Yeah.
And that game was more of like a point and click puzzle game.
Yeah,
And it was made by the same person who created the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney series. And so, yeah, premise-wise, the two games are similar, but gameplay-wise, they're clearly going for something different. Like I said, it's Metal Gear with Metal Gear with ghost powers.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see, I guess, because again, they didn't show anything much. So, anything else on that game? On our Super Gear Solid here.
I mean, I know that's kind of a crude label to put on it because the game does look like it's trying to integrate an investigative element to it. Like being an actual detective. Metal Gear didn't have that, so it's more unique than we're giving it credit for.
Well, I didn't say it's not unique. It's just what we're getting, the vibe we're getting. I mean, that's all.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying you guys are dismissing it.
Nah. So we're cool on that one. Let us know your theories, guys, if you're watching this. Be interested. Cool. So they announced totally nothing to do with a game here. Well, it does have something to do with the game, but it's not like a game. The Ratchet and Clank, the movie, 2015.
Woo!
I want to mention that. And they also said they will redo the original Ratchet and Clank for PS4 in the first half of 2015.
All right.
Anything to say about that? You guys are
A lot.
married to that?
Well,
A lot to say.
I actually had the great honor of playing that game on Crystal Star Studio, the old co-op channel with Guy Crusher 9 and some other guy. I don't remember who it was. Anyway,
I heard he was handsome, though.
Is he dead?
Oh no!
I don't know. I really enjoyed playing that game. I think it's great that they're remaking it, and from what I remember from that game, it was a very hilarious game. So I'm sure the music, not the music, the movie would actually be pretty cool too.
Keeping it in context, because this is a Sony Entertainment, really, I can't really bash them for making this into a movie, because this would be kind of the same reaction I'd get if they made something like an animated Mario movie or Star Fox. They did something like that. So, yeah, I'm not excited that they're starting to do this movie thing with these game series, but Ratchet and Clank's a good choice if they wanted to start with anything.
As for me, I'm more interested in the movie than the remake.
Of course.
It's surprising to say, but here's the thing. The original Ratchet and Clank already stands well on its own. It's a good game, and it doesn't really need a remake. I'm not saying that I'm not excited for it, because they can still do some really cool things with a remake, but as far, like, compared to other games that really need remakes, Ratchet and Clank is very, very fine on its own.
Okay.
As for the movie, though, I think this might be an example of a video game movie done right. Because here's the thing. First off, 3D CGI movie. That's way better than trying to do some cheesy live-action shit.
Yep.
And secondly, they're getting the voice actors from the original game. We already know that the voices of Ratchet, Clank, and Captain Quark are already confirmed to work on the movie. So that is a great sign.
Well, I don't really
Alright.
have an opinion on this at all. I didn't play the series, so for me it was just kind of like, yeah, the guys are gonna be excited. Cool, let's write this down. The end.
Dang it, kitty!
It looked cool though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's nice. New movies.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
It's cool. All right, you need to say anything else about the movie remake stuff?
We're done.
No, but one thing that did not deserve a remake, The Last of Us.
Right,
Yeah.
the next one, The Last of Us.
Segways!
Mhm.
Yeah!
The Last of Us Remastered, July 29th, which is basically just The Last of Us Remastered for PS4, and I'm like, okay.
Why?
Question
Why
mark?
do we need
Yeah.
this?
I am actually really glad I'm getting the same response from all of you because here's the deal. Last of Us last year, quite easily standalone one of the best games of the year. I
Yes.
thought it was really, really good. I thought the story elements were great. Gameplay looked really, really fun. But it's a 2013 game.
Yeah.
Does it need
Yeah.
a remastered version in 2014? Just
Clearly.
release the game for PS4. Just
Yeah.
release the game for PS4.
Yeah. I was a bit puzzled too. I'm like, huh?
This is a pure money making scheme. They just want money. That's all they really want.
I'm never a fan of remastered or whatever the hell games anyways. It's like, well, the old one is still around, so what do we need this for necessarily? So I was puzzled a little bit. I'm like, okay, acknowledged, moving on, that's what it was for me. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I kind of agree with what Nemo was saying about Ratchet and Clank. I mean, even that game stands well on its own
Yeah.
for being an early PS2 game. But that's the thing. It's an early PS2 game. It was released at least in, like, 2002, 2003, maybe even 2001. Then that makes a little more sense. That's 13 years. Technology has
Yeah.
improved a lot in just 13 years. This,
And
no.
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Well,
That's it. No, that's what I have to end on.
Oh.
it feels like the only reason I mean, I don't feel like Ratchet and Clank needs a remaster either, because, again, I don't feel like nothing much needs a remaster unless you really change a lot of it. Like, if it was a DOS game or something, and you're like, hey, let's bring this back, because, nobody uses DOS anymore. But I feel like they probably just did it because the movie's coming out, so they have, like,
Right.
something for
Tie
extra
it.
promo. Yeah. In this case, it's like, okay, noted, not buying.
Yeah.
Have fun, GG. And what else is
Pretty
it?
much.
But for whoever wants it, July 29th, if you want to give them more money for the game you already own, go
Yeah.
for it. if you're bored or so. Tommy? No?
No.
No? Cool.
Okay.
Cool, that was
Now,
easy.
now for me.
Alright.
I've got some more stuff to say. Yeah, first off, I really like what Slim said. Even though Ratchet and Clank doesn't need a remake, at least the justification for a remake makes a lot more sense because it was released over 10 years ago. So you could actually do some cool stuff with that remake. The Last of Us, last year, man, last year.
So last
It was
year.
a fantastic game, and I'm pretty damn sure everyone who wanted to play it has played it by now.
Yeah.
Why do you need a PS4 version? Just buy a used copy of the PS3 version.
Really?
What the hell, man? What the hell, Naughty Dog? What the hell, Sony? Stupid money-making scheme, period.
Okay, you let them have it. Shots been fired.
Speaking of money-making schemes, Uncharted.
What? You just skipped that!
We'll go on
You
the
skipped
next
ahead
one.
quite a
Big
bit too.
time, dude!
Yeah.
What? Shots been fired!
We don't have to go to
I
that
have,
yet.
I have at least 3 games before that.
Yeah, yeah.
I do too. I just wanted to say it.
You're a jerk.
we'll get to Uncharted 4 later. We'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Alright. Are we cool with
Yeah.
The Last of Us making. I mean, remastered. Cool.
We made our points. So last year, hashtag.
So last.
Yes.
Yeah. Hashtag so last year. Cool. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Opinions, please.
Oh my goodness. What can you say about Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain?
You have a lot to say, Nima.
I can say.
I do have a lot to say. First off, I am really glad that this game seems to be bringing the series full circle, because here's the thing. This game takes place in 1984. Alright? And the very first Metal Gear game's plot takes place in 1995. So, we are getting really close to just tying everything together. And I'm betting by the time The Phantom Pain is over, there will be some sort of like post-credit scene that takes place after the game's events that just really glues everything together. Like, maybe we'll see Big Boss giving a young Solid Snake his first orders. It would be an amazing moment. I'm not sure Kojima's gonna do it, but I wouldn't put it past him.
He's gotta make a game about it.
This is a big moment for the series, and I believe we don't need any more games that take place before Metal Gear after this. This should be it. This should tie the story of Snake together, and that should be it. No more.
They might do a Vita game before do it between Phantom Pain and the first Metal Gear
We
Solid.
don't need any more.
Tommy's just being a jerk right now.
I actually
Metal Gear Acid 3.
outside
of ThePastaKing, I do have a close friend who unfortunately doesn't have a Vita or PlayStation 4 to enjoy the Metal Gear Solid 5 games, but
Is it me? I'm just kidding.
he's a huge Metal Gear fan, and he's been following pretty much everything about the story. And I'm not a big fan of Metal Gear Solid or any of the Metal Gear games, but at least there's great storytelling
Yes.
in this game and excellent gameplay. This is Hideo Kojima. His game. This is a grand example of how this kind of game should be made.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Well, people don't know this, but Metal Gear Solid is one of my favorite game franchises. We have played 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3, whatever. So I was excited to see this, and it looks great as always. Some quote-unquote haters, I guess, always keep saying that Metal Gear Solid is a movie with a little bit of gameplay in between.
Bullshit.
I used to say that too.
Yeah.
I was guilty of that, and I disagree now.
I don't feel like, even if it were that way, I mean, even if there's a lot of cutscenes and stuff, and there's not, quote-unquote, a lot of gameplay, quote-unquote, it's just really good. It's told really well, and you usually almost kind of forget that you're even playing, or that there is so much to look at, because it's good storytelling, and they're good cutscenes, and everything is really great. So I was excited. And by the way, if anybody wants to know, the song they used was Mike Oldfield, Nuclear. I've been asked. Yeah. So I mentioned this here. I'm excited. I want Steam anyways to bring out some of the Metal Gear Solid stuff on their system. Devil May Cry is already out, so why not bring out Metal Gear, like 1, 2, 3 maybe at least. Possibly 4, I don't know, but at least 1, 2, and 3 would be cool. Would be especially cool now that this comes out. I'd love to replay it, So I was excited. There was cinematics, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh freaking yeah.
Spoilers.
I think we all sold our pants a little when we saw this. Except for Tommy.
Maybe not.
Who's a hater? Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
I was entranced by the trailer. I know. I was into it, but
I was just making fun of you.
I'm just not a fan of the series. So.
Yeah.
As for me, Metal Gear Solid is one of the franchises that I've always wanted to get into, but due to like just one very random small technicality, I've always come up short to actually getting started.
Oh.
I remember the first time I wanted to get into it, I was at GameStop. That's what it's called. I was at GameStop. I wanted to get Twin Stage for GameCube. I went up to the cash register, realized I needed my ID to actually get the game, and I forgot my ID at home.
Oh.
Second time. This continues. I went to GameStop. There was a deal where you could get games, and if you get like 2 games, you get the third one free. I did it, but then I realized I had to be all of the same system, and unfortunately, I had 2 games and then one of the Metal Gear Solids on a different system, so I had to put that game back and get one for the other system.
Gosh darn
So
it.
all these very freak instances where I just come up short of getting into it, but I really want to. Game looks amazing. Maybe this is how I'll get started, but I think I really should probably play the first 4 games first.
Hey, Slim. Slim, I guess it
What?
wasn't your destiny. I had to.
Our listeners can't see it right now, but I'm flipping you off.
Okay, thank you. Love you too. Cool.
Well noted.
Right.
And I have to say, Slim, if you ever find a copy of Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection, get that. That will get you all caught up.
Yeah.
Will do.
Good game, GG. Anything else? But
Yes.
Yes.
I've got
Please.
some more stuff to say.
Please.
Okay. In this game, you notice that the Metal Gear series is adopting more of an open world feel, which is a huge trend with
Trendy, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Very
incredibly
It's very
trendy. And I don't really have a problem with that, because the thing about Metal Gear is, even when it takes existing, trends in the action genre, it always manages to put a unique spin on them and just make it Metal Gearized. I guess you could say. Just Metal Gearize it and make it its own. And I think the end result we're going to get here is a stealth game that just feels so strangely organic, because you have this gigantic environment to play around with, and it gives you new opportunities for stealth that you wouldn't have in the first Metal Gear game, where you're just confined to a military base.
It says a real-time game, right?
Yeah. And, and there were some occasional snowy environments and caves in the first game, but yeah, really confined compared to Phantom Pain, and it just goes to show you how far the series has come. It's managed to adapt and stay relevant even after all of these trends in the action genre happened, and even competitors to Metal Gear in the stealth action subgenre have picked up. Yeah, like Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell is a big one. Oh, and there was also Siphon Filter. That used to be a thing. And Metal Gear's outlasted them all.
Yeah.
Or, well, I think Splinter Cell's still around, but yeah, Metal Gear has stayed in the game. Phantom Pain is going to be awesome, and I just can't wait, to experience the gameplay and story.
Anything else?
Mm-mm.
Alright.
Good.
This is hashtag take my money. Definitely. Alright. Shut up and take my money. Cool. Alright. Let's move on. Also, good job. Keep it up. Grand Theft Auto 5 in fall. Do we need to say?
Oh, is that DLC?
No, it's actually the ports for the PS4 and Xbox One, because the game did come out last year.
Oh, right.
So, but unlike The Last of Us, my God, it's not remastered. There's some small tweaks, like they increase like draw distance, texture details, that kind of thing. But that's for the new systems. That's not really a remastered thing. So, and
it's the same
from my
game.
understanding, it's the same game. Yeah, but from my understanding, if you have the 360 or the PS3's versions of the games, you can actually upgrade, like, straight to the PS4 and Xbox One versions.
Neat.
Oh, do you have to pay?
I would imagine there's a small fee involved with that.
It says they'll be able to transfer characters and progressions of GTA Online over to the new platforms.
Oh,
So-
so that sounds more like file transfer than actually getting your license upgraded from a 360 license to an Xbox One license.
Oh, yeah, that's
Because that's
probably
what I
it,
thought
but-
you were saying.
Yeah, that's right. But still, I mean, that's nice that they allow that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that because they could easily, try and justify themselves and say, "Nope, you're gonna have to start brand new."
Oh God. Can you imagine the backlash?
So Naughty Dog, this is what you do when you want to re-release a game.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yeah, but when you
Greedy
finish the
monkey
Last
money.
of Us story, then why would you want to transfer your completed file to
No,
your
Online
HD?
he
play.
meant to not make a remastered version instead, just a port or something.
Oh.
I think.
And another thing about this situation is Grand Theft Auto 5 has online play. The Last of Us doesn't. So
Yeah, not really.
if you want to play on PS4 with other PS4 owners, you got to get the PS4 version of the
Mhm.
game. So it makes more sense
Yeah.
than The Last of Us, which was a strictly single-player game. There's absolutely no reason to put it on PS4 other than slightly better graphics.
Mm.
Plus, Grand Theft Auto is also sandbox style, so even once you finish the main game, you still have all this other extra stuff you can do. Even if you
Yeah.
have 100% file completion, there's always something to do. Whether it's building up your empire, your money, or whatever other extra features there are, there's a lot more to do in Grand Theft Auto than probably there is for Last of Us.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. I actually like the Grand Theft Auto series. I haven't played many of them, but I have played Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yeah.
And I've always had my eye on this game. I may, finally jump into it eventually. But I've got a bunch of other single-player games to complete first. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tell me about it.
yeah, I've got my
I
eye
love
on this
the-
game.
Like Ogre Battle.
Psst. Oh God.
I've already
Tommy.
beaten that game. That's
Yeah.
a Let's Play project, not a game I have to beat.
Yeah.
I love GTA. That's all I have to say. I
Yep.
love GTA.
You
I
sold your
don't.
pants. Alright. Anything else? You guys want to?
Nope.
Cool. So we had gliding and tanking the game. No, it was Batman Arkham Knight,
Oh.
which
Gliding
pretty much, yeah, pretty much gliding sums the trailer up, and it's that Batmobile tank thing.
Yeah.
Well, what can you say about this? It's a Batman game. No kidding.
It's Batman.
It's Batman. Yeah, opinions?
I really like the flight mechanics for Batman.
Gliding, yeah, that gliding thing.
Yeah.
Glide
it's just-
kick.
Glide
It,
kick.
it just brought me back to all the George Clooney Batman films with him just
Oh yeah, I remember.
gliding down from the sky on his with his wings and everything.
Alright.
So
Well,
They're basically not to necessarily say this in a bad way, but they're milking the Arkham series for what it's worth.
Yes,
I
for
guess.
sure.
kind of like the Dark Knight series for films.
Yep. Well, it was nice to look at. But yeah, I don't have much to say about this. For huge
Glide
Batman
kick.
fans, good thing probably. For everybody else, okay, just kind of let's acknowledge and move on in that kind of sense, So, I don't know what you guys, if you have other opinions still. But
I do.
yeah,
I am a huge Batman fan,
right.
and I have played the previous game, Batman Arkham City,
Mhm.
and the representation of the characters and story elements, it feels like Batman. It is authentic Batman, and I really enjoyed the story as well as the dialogue
Mhm.
in Arkham City. But
Mhm.
with that being said, I did not enjoy the combat. I really get what they were trying to do here. They were trying to make you feel like Batman and just like really capture the feeling of Batman taking out dozens of guys at once with his kung fu moves.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a good job of that, visually speaking. But when I'm holding the controller and actually doing the inputs, I don't feel like I'm having fun. I feel like it's way too brain dead.
Mm-hmm.
And there are higher difficulty settings for the game, but it's just not fun. It's just not fun to destroy people. I feel like I'm not really working my brain here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, fighting isn't good, story is great, characters are represented awesomely, voice acting, great, the exploration of the city, like gliding around, that's great. But yeah, combat, nah, not my thing.
Okay.
But if you liked these games, Batman Arkham Knight's probably going to deliver once again. They're milking it, but they're milking it well.
Okay. Anything else? From anybody? No?
I didn't have much to say personally, so I'm done.
Tommy, you need her?
How Batman?
Okay!
Where's Rachel?
Okay!
Where are the other drugs?
Where's the Joker?
Oh god.
I do. There's one thing. There's one comment that fell when I was watching this panel here. The guy in a call with me, my friend, he was like, "I would not be afraid of a villain called the Penguin, but that just might be me."
No, it makes sense. He does have a very comical appearance.
I know.
He's more threatening in what he can do and the plots he can come up with. But he's obviously not threatening in look, and that's the whole point of him.
The name alone, I mean.
Oh yeah, the name.
So.
Yeah, does sound threatening, but this guy is deceptively threatening.
I just kind of liked the comment, so I had to add that.
Oh yeah.
Alright, moving on from gliding the game to what Tommy started earlier. Finally.
Speaking of money-making schemes, Uncharted 4.
A Thief's End coming 2015. I was actually looking forward to that. I watched the Sony conference as last, and during all the conferences I was like, where's Uncharted? Where's Uncharted? Because I saw a tweet where they announced Uncharted 4 and I didn't know where it was in. Like if they were going to show it in Ubi or wherever the hell, but then someone, shortly before they showed it, I was like, alright, of course it would be in Sony, I'm an idiot. So I was excited, I'm like, gosh, finally, alright, show me this. It was just a trailer, unfortunately. But...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Doesn't really tell us much about the game itself.
Nope. Well, GG, that's all I can say, I don't know. It's Uncharted. I don't know anything else about it. But it's Uncharted, so high hopes, maybe? But it's good.
It's very popular.
It definitely is popular. And here's what I've got to say about it. I've played Uncharted 2, I've played Uncharted 3, and I do own the first Uncharted, but I haven't played through that yet, but people tell me that's not even the standout of the series. It's kind of like the freshman outing. You know, it's not that impressive. Uncharted really came into its own in the second game. And the third game is considered good too. And I have to agree. I like both of these games. They were definitely not very they were not flexible, they were not versatile, they were not varied. You were pretty much doing like the same thing over and over for the entire game, like go through an action-packed set piece, watch cutscene, go through another action-packed set piece, watch cutscene, rinse, wash, repeat. That's what the Uncharted games are about. They're two-trick ponies, but they do these two tricks incredibly well, better than almost anyone. It's definitely a thrill ride, and the cutscenes are damn good. I mean, I like the characters, I like the storyline, voice acting's top-notch. I have nothing bad to say about these games, but they're clearly not for everyone. And Uncharted 4 looks like it'll be more of the same.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on the story part. It's just the story is what makes it in the end, because the story is really interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's like a good action movie.
Yeah, that. Yes.
Watch this thrilling adventure as Nathan Drake does action commands.
Press X to action.
Yeah. Only thing I have to say, because it was just a trailer, but A Thief's End, is this the end for Nathan Drake?
That's
That's what I thought
wondering.
too. Might be
That's
the
what I was
last
wondering.
game.
Yeah.
Could be it.
Well, it's good when a company knows when to, put a
Yes.
lid on it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then next year they
definitely.
come out with Uncharted 4 DLC.
No.
Probably not.
Please, no.
Probably
And they showed at
No,
E3
it'll be-
without any elaboration.
I don't know. We could be wrong here, but this sounds like an end kind of title. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think Nathan Drake
Or-
deserves a proper send-off because
Yeah.
his games did serious work for the PS3.
Mhm.
He brought in sales, he put asses in seats, and hands to controllers. He
Mhm.
deserves a good final game.
This is like the Halo for Sony.
I really like that quote, by the way.
Mhm.
It should be a shirt.
So, let's just hope that they don't make an Uncharted 5, aka Scrub Season 9. I mean, what?
Oh god, no. please.
I could see it coming. Uncharted 5, Guardians.
No. Screw this.
Let's just they don't leave it at that.
Did I say it comes out 2015? If not, now you know. Any other opinions to Uncharted?
That's all I have to say.
Hashtag GG. Take my money. Cool. All right. Let's do the recap of how Sony was like for everybody, and yeah, be done.
Okay.
with Sony. Cool. Opinions, guys. Sony. Overall
Sony.
opinions.
Who wants to go first?
You.
I'll
go
go
you.
first.
All right, you go.
Okay. So, Sony, they already have my loyalty. I
Yeah.
bought the PS1. I bought that. I enjoyed that. I bought the PS2. I enjoyed that. I bought the PS3. I enjoyed that. I even have a friggin' PSP, and I enjoyed that. So, it's a 90% chance, at least a 90% chance that I'm gonna buy a PS4. They don't really need to do any more attraction
Mhm.
for me. Like, they don't really need to do any more seduction. But this show was not bad at all. There were a lot of games that appealed to me or could potentially appeal to me, and that's all I really need. Grim Fandango alone really got me excited. And Uncharted 4, that's probably going to be another solid game.
Mhm.
Little Big Planet 3, oh man, that's going to be something.
Mhm.
And that's not even all. They're clearly showing Ratchet and Clank some love, and probably after this remake, they're going to get a brand new game, and I'm probably going to be interested in that. So, Sony, you did a good job.
Mhm.
You probably are not going to bring any new people into your brand, but you're doing a good job of entertaining your existing fans like me.
Mhm. Slim.
As for me, Sony, like looking back at last year's E3 compared to this one, ironically, I think Sony was the only conference that I thought was better than the previous years. Because last year I really wasn't that impressed, but this year I thought they did really good. I mean, there's a lot of games on these lists I'm actually really excited for. They had 2 hours worth of content. I don't feel like any content dragged on for a super long time. Maybe the PS TV could be shortened a little bit, but even then, that's their choice. And they had a lot of other content to go along with it. Maybe replace a little bit of that TV stuff and then the Last of Us remake with some Squaresoft stuff, because I feel like that was a company that was kind of overlooked. But I mean, if anything, that just goes to show you that there's so much that's coming to the PlayStation platform that people are excited about, and maybe that's a good sign for Sony. Maybe that's a really, really good sign for Sony. That could be what ultimately gives them the edge in this generation of consoles.
Mhm.
So, honestly, I thought they did great.
Okay. Tommy.
All right. So, to call back on the Microsoft press conference a little bit before I get into Sony, one of the jokes I made about them on Twitter is instead of calling the console the Xbox One, I started calling it the Xbox Guns. because it seemed like every other game they were showing involved shooting something in some way. However, my biggest complaint is not with Microsoft on that end, but it's actually with Sony. They took a lot of these violent games and went 2 or 3 steps beyond what Microsoft had done. And obviously, just from talking about all these conferences, you guys already know I'm not a big fan of overtly gory and violent games.
Right.
But Sony, it was incredible how much more intense they took it than Microsoft did. I was not expecting that at all. And granted, some of these games aren't first party Sony exclusives. There's I'm trying to think what's one of the games. Oh, Far Cry 4. Technically, I watched Ubisoft after I watched Sony because I was at work during that time. But Ubisoft came first, and they had introduced that game, and I was just overwhelmed. And then seeing it on Sony, I was overwhelmed even more. They did have plenty of, in my opinion, good games that they showed off that I'm really interested in. There's Little Big Planet 3. There's Grim Fandango. Entwined looked cool. I'm not really a big fan of Audio Surf knockoffs, but it did look cool. There was also oh crap, what was the game we were just talking about with the planets and
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. I'm really looking forward to that, but if it's on PC, I'm getting it on PC.
Yeah.
But overall, I think Sony showed they showed a lot more promise with a lot of their other titles, but I don't know. This is the first time where I think Microsoft had a better structured presentation and better variety in their presentation. This is the first time I'm going to give Microsoft my thumbs up over Sony, and that's for me. That's never happened. So, surprise.
Oh my!
La.
You guys are done, I guess.
Yep.
Metal Gear.
All right.
Yeah, I'm done.
For me, it was a little bit disappointing. I always liked Sony's presentations. The reason I was disappointed this time is not because, oh, the games aren't good or there weren't enough games or whatever the hell. I like PS, definitely. I think I like the most, or the PlayStation 2 definitely has most of the games that I like, Metal Gear Solid, Devil May Cry, Oz, Ateliers, you name it. So I always dig Sony, they always have good games for me. But the problem was that it's kind of what Tommy just said. Compared to last year, I feel like Sony did worse in the sense of, they just showed trailers. Trailer. Kind of what Microsoft used to do, a little bit. But I'm not comparing cross companies, like I'm not going to compare Sony to Microsoft, but compared to last year, they just went trailer, and I'm like, there were such cool games like Bloodborne or just, some others that I would have just liked to see more of instead of just, okay, here's a trailer. And that disappointed me a little bit. Because it's like, okay, so this looks great, please tell me all about it, and then they just moved on to the next game, and I'm just sitting there like, wait, whoa, this is it? This is all we're getting? It was sad, honestly. The other conferences had me all hyped up, and I was in a good mood. I was like, wow, so impressive, and here I couldn't even really get to that part, because here's the trailer, it takes like a minute or less, and by the time I would have been really impressed and been sitting there feeling all like, wow, they moved on to the next trailer. So I'm like, gosh darn it. Please, Sony, go back to saying a bit more about the games. I'm a fan, okay? So please give me more than just, hey, here, have some nice cinematics. Even though they had great games. Uncharted, hell yeah, I'll give you my money. Metal Gear Solid, I'll give you my money. Bloodborne even, and some others, but it's like, show a bit more? Not so much about Metal Gear Solid or Uncharted, those series, even though Would have been nice to see a bit something about Uncharted or Metal Gear Solid 2, but please? That was a bit disappointing.
Now that you mention it, I feel like a lot of companies actually did that this year to some extent.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
You did what exactly?
Focused more on trailers than like
yeah, that is a running.
demonstrations.
Right.
It's weird.
That is reoccurring.
I mean, if that's all you do, it's like, they might as well just have done what Nintendo's doing now. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, just here we're sending the show in, whatever, who cares? Or they should have just been like, here's a YouTube playlist, all the trailers, you don't need us, you know?
Right.
And we're going to talk about that, the way Nintendo structured their E3 on our Nintendo podcast.
We'll talk about that, but that's the impression I got.
Yeah.
It's like, might as well just give a YouTube playlist, like what you can find on probably IGN and everywhere now, and all those gaming magazines. Here are the trailers, you don't need us in between. If they're not saying anything anyway, it's like, well, I don't know why the companies did that this year. Like, did they not have time? Was there so much stuff to show that they couldn't say anything? Or did they do it on purpose? Like, you know, we don't want to reveal too much? Or is it really just still that much in development that you can say more? Or, I don't know, would have been nice.
Well, I will speak for Metal Gear Solid 5. I think Sony didn't want to give it too much time because it's also being released for Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a Sony exclusive. I mean, I bet they wish they had it as a Sony exclusive because Metal Gear used to be a Sony exclusive series.
Yep. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little disappointing. But,
Well,
love you anyway, Sony. It's cool.
Well, we still have one more kind of conference to cover, and then the overall thoughts, I guess. So I guess we'll finish up that next time.
Do you guys have anything else to say to Sony?
Nope. I think I got mine covered.
All right.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, please.
All 2 seconds of it.
I don't want to see Aqua and Mickey. I want to see more.
Yes.
I'll stay out of this Kingdom Hearts deal.
But I still love you, Sony.
Yep.
I'm getting a PS4 most likely, so the love is going to keep flowing.
Yep, Sony. Mwah. Alright. Well, this was it for Sony then. Stay tuned for Nintendo, guys. So, go! That was it.
Bye-bye.
Bye!
See ya!
Bye, yo.